Okay, today we're going to look at fighting archers that are on their knees. Now, common wisdom is that on the warfield you can leg them and leave them. And for melee combatants, that holds absolutely true. So if you have a situation where a heavy fighter has been legged, you can just simply ignore them, fight around them until such a time as the battle is winding down at the end, and then you can go and eliminate them in leisure. When I say ignore, you can't completely ignore them, but for all intents and purposes, they are a much reduced threat to what they would be if they were up on their legs and running. Now, with archers, that is entirely not the case, and archers that are on the knees should be exterminated with extreme prejudice. Fairly obviously, an archer on their knees is still a threat. They can still shoot, and interestingly enough, they can actually become even more of a threat than they were when they were standing on their feet. This is for two reasons. So first of all, an archer on their knees is actually a more stable platform than an archer standing on their legs. So if you're moving about, ducking and dodging, as you normally would be, then that's going to have an impact on your shooting. Once you're down on your knees and you're completely and utterly stationary, you have a much more stable firing platform. The second reason is psychological, and that is an archer on their knees feels incredibly vulnerable, and in their head they're thinking to themselves, I'm going to die at any second. So they're going to try and make every single one of their shots count. So sitting there on their knees, in their head, they're thinking time slows down, and they're thinking, I'm going to make every single shot that I get until I die absolutely count. So you've got a stable firing platform. They're not worrying about ducking and dodging. All their focus is dedicated on getting nice, clean shots in before they die. So one way of thinking of it is that an archer that is on their knees is a bit like a pillbox. If, hypothetically speaking, you're a melee combatant with a shield and you're also legged and you're close to an archer on their knees, then I would actually strongly recommend that you try and shuffle your way over to them. And then that archer turns from a pillbox to a fortified pillbox. And that particular combination can be quite effective. You can't move around anywhere, but that shieldsman can block arrows and call shots, and that archer can continue to shoot. So eliminate that combination. All right. Now, if you are a melee combatant with a pole arm of some sort, a two-handed weapon of some sort, then how you eliminate an archer on the knees is very, very simple. You just simply advance up to them and you call them slain. If you are a melee combatant armed with a sword and shield, then what you should not do is succumb to the temptation to wait for that archer to lose their last arrow before rushing in and killing you. The reasons for that is twofold. So an experienced archer seeing a melee combatant with a shield pause at, say, that 10-15 metre mark, waiting for you to shoot, will just simply draw that bow and they'll aim at you. There's no loss to them whatsoever to be holding you up. So as long as you're standing there waiting for them to loose, they're thinking to themselves, well, I'm just holding them up right now, and that's keeping them out of whatever fight they're going to go on to next. The second reason is that that same archer is probably going to be scanning the warfield in the corner of their eyes, looking for a nice, clean target. So instead of shooting at you, there's a good chance they'll just simply switch their aim at the last second and shoot at someone else, possibly killing them. So if you're a melee combatant with a shield and you're attacking an archer on their knees, don't stop. Just simply walk straight up to them and call them dead. There's a good chance that archer will loose the arrow at you. And when that happens, it's probably not going to be the best shot possible because they're under a whole lot of pressure. And you have a nice shield in front of you, there's a very, very good chance that you'll be able to block that arrow. Archers, killing archers on their knees. So if an archer is on their knees and they are well and truly out of reach of any melee combatants, i.e. they're close to the rear end of the warfield, then if you are a really good sniper, then your job is to eliminate that archer. Remember that that archer on their knees is currently a nice, stable, dangerous firing platform. So whereas you can still move, right? So while they're concentrating and trying to get whatever kills they can get in before they die, your job is to make them dead. All right, you can use archers that are on their knees. So if an archer is somewhere in the middle of the warfield and they're pegged and they're on their knees and you have a front that's anywhere near them, then you should try and consider turning the enemy such that they are exposed to that archer's fire. So to be able to do that, you need to have a communication that's really strong. You need to have battlefield commanders who can see the opportunity and are able to maneuver a unit accordingly. This, of course, only lasts for as long as that archer stays alive. Now, the last thing I want to discuss on this particular subject is a training exercise that I've done on numerous occasions. Started doing it about 20 odd years ago with a group of archers, and I call it an execution. So with this training exercise, it can be done with 3 people. And with this training exercise, it can also be done with not just archers, but also involving melee combatants. But I'll point out that the dynamic with a two-handed weapon of some sort changes a little bit, and the dynamic with someone with a shield completely changes. So it's still worth doing, just as an example, but it'll have a different outcome. So with this particular exercise, we can imagine that you have a single archer that is on their knees and they have a buttload of arrows. Give them 30, give them as many as you've got. You stick them in the middle of a field, nice space, lots of open space, and you give 2 archers who are attacking 2 or 3 arrows each. And you start them off just on the cusp of range, 40 or 50 odd metres or so. So those 2 archers have to work out how they're going to kill that archer on their knees who has all the arrows in the world to throw at them. And the solution is really, really simple. Those 2 archers simply flank around that archer on their knees in the middle in opposite directions. When they get to opposite points in a line with that archer, they just simply advance into nice close range, 7 metres, and take the shot. Now that archer in the middle can only be facing, looking at, and shooting in one direction at a time. So whoever they're facing, that person is probably going to have to be thinking about ducking and dodging, but the other person has absolute freedom to advance really, really quickly and take that shot. And at 7 metres, it's pretty hard to miss a target that's kneed on the ground. Now, if you're watching this video and you think to yourself, well, that's a good idea, I'll try that, then I'd actually strongly recommend that you don't introduce the people that you're training to the solution, because a big part of the value of the exercise is in people actually working out how it works themselves. So the first time you run this exercise with 2 new attacking archers, they're probably going to stay in their comfort zone. So they're going to stay at that maximum range. They're going to lob their 2 or 3 arrows. And even an archer on their knees has a very, very good chance of shuffling out of the way when arrows have been shot at that sort of range. So let them do that a few times and then let them stop, pause, have a discussion about how they're going to kill that archer on their knees. And they'll probably come to the conclusion that I've just described. And once they come to that conclusion, let them run through the exercise and do it again, and do it again. Do it half a dozen times, a dozen times. Ultimately, you want that reaction to an archer on their knees to become an instinctual reaction. This is what we do when there's an archer on their knees. We know we can eliminate them. The reason I call it an execution is because when the exercise is well executed, it is very, very rare that that archer on their knees will do so much as get a wound on the attacking archers. So that concludes my little discussion about archers on the warfield on their knees and what to do about them. As always, watch the videos, share the videos, subscribe. If you have any comments, please leave them below and I'll either try and address them in the comments themselves or in a future video. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.